Okay, today we're taking a look how to create the distance shader. For these, we just need the Arnold render, and if we press render, we can see the distance of the materials that are behind this object. That's very helpful. So how do we do this? First, we need to build up something like this where we can check our surface, where we can check our shader. And in my opinion, I will do it like this. I create a surface, and behind this surface I place some objects with different distances. For example, the first is 0 millimeters away from the surface, the second 1 millimeter, and so on. So how to create this you have to find out by your own. I think that's not that hard. Next thing you need is this render environment ball, the sky dome. These you just can create if you click on Arnold, and here you need this environment ball or the sky dome. Just press it and it will create here. Also you have to go to render, not on the viewport 2.0, you just have to go to Arnold, and if you now press render, I will duplicate these and give them a new material. And now if you just press render, you should see something like this, that it's just a gray surface where you can't see what's behind the surface. And what we want to create is this kind of distance shader. So first things first, we create a new material. So assign new material, and I just create a Lambert material. I call it distance shader. And I want to create a ramp in the color value. So I go on this checkerboard, press it, and here I just use the ramp. And this ramp later on will decide which color the distance behind the object will get. So for me, I use the materials like this, or the colors like this, to create the perfect distance later on. You can just copy paste the values, you can just copy paste the numbers. So first I take a green color, I put it on the section 0, then I take blue on this value, yellow on this value, red, and so on. You can also play around with the numbers and with the values, but this will highly affect your distance shader. So the next step is to open up the node editor. The node editor you find under Windows, Node Editor, and maybe it will look like this for you. Maybe there will lots of stuff and it looks a little bit unsorted. So just press here to clean everything. Click on your object, on your shader, and press select for selecting the shader. And now we press on the little plus sign to find this shader in the node editor. Then we go on this icon with the little triangles and we press it to see which parts are connected to our shader. So here we can now find the ramp, we can find a modifier for the texture, and we can find the Lambert output. In the node editor, we can now open up, for example, the ramp if we press on this little 3 lines to see more or less details. We want to press 2 times on it to open it up like this, to see the UV coordinates that we need later. Okay, now comes the fun part and the most important part for this shader. We have to create a new node, and this we are doing via right click. So we press the right mouse button and create node. And here we're searching for ambient occlusion, and there is an Arnold ambient occlusion shader that we need. So we press it, and this shader is the most important part for our project, because the ambient occlusion is doing what our distance shader is doing. So ambient occlusion means if some object is closer to another object, this ambient occlusion shader will go darker, and if the object is more far away, it will go lighter. So this is more or less some kind of mask we will use for our ramp shader. So what we have to do is we open it up, we go in the output color and we open up the UV coordinates, not the UV filter size, we need the UV coordinates. And here we replace just one thing. We take the R value, the red color value, and put it in the V coordinates. And now we have done lots of stuff, so let's check it out. Let's start the render, and it's not looking good, but something is happening. What we have to do is we have to tweak the settings in the ambient occlusion. So one thing is I will crank up the filter size to 5 and I will set the far clip to 0.5. And the magic happens if I press invert normals. Invert normals mean that not the outside of the object is rendered, it's rendering what's behind it. So that's what we need. So look that you're pressing the invert normals and just copy paste these numbers. You also can play around a little bit with the numbers, but for my tests here, this works pretty fine. So thanks for watching. I hope this tutorial works for you. It's maybe a little bit tricky, but please write in the comment if this is helpful for you. Thanks for watching.